Hi, this is Steve Garvin, and I am here with Tami Gulland, and I'm excited to be talking with Tami about soulful profits. And Tami will tell us, one, what soulful profits are and how we can get some of that soulful profit good stuff. Welcome to the show, Tami. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Steve. I'm so excited to be here. I'm really looking forward to our time together.
Excellent. So the question that's at the top of my mind is, what is soulful profits, and what does that mean to you, and how did you get to that for yourself and for your people?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, because soulful profits is like, what is that? It is really a holistic way of doing business. It's a holistic way of making how you do business as important as making money in your business, because both are really important. And, as a heart-centered entrepreneur, I know we've had conversations too. It's like how you're doing business is really important. You could be doing it the way that corporate America is doing it, and that's fine for them. But for heart-centered entrepreneurs, for intuitive people, for spirit-led folks, that often doesn't feel right. And so it's a really holistic approach to being embodied in your gifts and who you are, and really radiating your gifts out to people. And then it's also really finding a way to naturally market. That's always a bit of a crux for heart-centered entrepreneurs, I found. And then it's creating packages that allow your gift to flow out into the world and actually money to flow back to you, because it is actually a two-way street. So it's based on what I call alignment first. So it's alignment to your energy, your marketing, your messaging, your mindset, and your money. It's all of those things, because when you're in alignment, and I know you and I definitely see eye to eye on alignment, when you're in alignment, things click into place. They really work. And so that is what Soulful Profits is actually based on.
Excellent. Yeah, we are very much in alignment about alignment.
Yes, absolutely. And I guess to answer the question about like how I came to that, it's really been the last 12 years of being a coach in different capacities that I have really, through my own journey, discovered there's 5 essential pieces to Soulful Profits. And with one of those pieces missing, it doesn't work so well, or it doesn't feel so good. And so all of these 5 pieces are really what has come into my awareness, and I've been working with my clients on it. So it's been my own journey, my own learning, my own working with clients that have really grown, I guess you could say, Soulful Profits.
Excellent. So that begs the question, what are those 5 points?
Yes. So the 5 elements are what I call energetic IQ. They're the art of sacred connection, graceful marketing, abundance alignment, and inspired action. And I think that was 5. I didn't count.
Yeah. I was actually going to write those down. Can you list those again for me?
Of course. Yes. Energetic IQ.
Okay.
The art of sacred connection.
Okay.
Graceful marketing.
Okay.
Abundance alignment.
Okay.
And inspired action.
Excellent. Well, those are juicy titles by themselves.
They're juicy topics in and of themselves as we dive into them. So.
Excellent. Well, let's start with the first one then.
Sure.
What is energetic IQ?
So energetic IQ is really how you are showing up in the world in your energy. So it's energy and it's mindset, but it's also how you're present in your body and you're embodied in who you are. And when you understand your energetic IQ, you can navigate more easily the energy of the world around you. So for example, I work with a lot of intuitive service-based business owners, and because we're so perceptive and so in tune with the energy around us, we can actually think some of that energy or some of those beliefs that we're swimming in all day are ours. So when you have an energetic IQ, you are really clear what's yours, what's not yours, and then you can let that go so it doesn't stop you in the process of moving forward in your business and in your life.
So is energetic IQ something that you naturally have, or is it something that's developed, or how do you tap into that IQ?
Yeah, I think it's both. Actually, I think we're all born, and I always say English isn't my first language. Energy is. And
Okay.
it's true for all of us. Some of us are more in tune with that than others, depending on our experiences in life or how we were raised, or, you know, a multitude of different reasons. But I would say that energetic IQ can be raised, can be cultivated. And that's part of what I do with my clients, because it's different for everyone. And that is the point, that how you take in and process energy and navigate in the world is different than the person sitting next to you. So being able to understand your own what I call your energetic design, to navigate in the world, how you make decisions that are in alignment for you, that put you in your flow. All of those things are unique to you. So it's really getting in touch with who you are at a very core, and then being able to sort of rest back into your body and be in that space as you give your gifts.
Wow. It seems to me that, like a lot of other things that are like core to us, we're not like generally trained in our culture to like really be aware, be self-aware of what's going on. You know, a lot of times it's like, you know, look at Joe Blow over here, or, you know, Jane Doe or whoever, you know, about this is the way to do it. And it really kind of distracts us from being aware and kind of tapped into our energy. When you start working with people, are they already aware of this energetic IQ, or how do you help them introduce themselves to that notion or belief?
Right. It's a great question. And so when I work with my private clients, I actually call in their divine team, what I call their divine team and their spiritual business team. So they might be, and it's for everyone again, because we're all unique. We're not a template, right? We're all unique. So it might be archangels, angels, spirit guides. It could be animal totems. I mean, you name it. I've had Abraham Lincoln come through for some of my clients, and Orson Welles, and I mean, just the most amazing spiritual guidance coming through. And so when I work with clients, that actually comes through with partnering with their divine team, their spiritual business team. And some of it is known, and they are operating. For example, I have a client right now, she's aware that her energy is kind of all over the place and she's feeling really scattered. And so what we're doing is, in each session, really working with her energy so she enhances her IQ to know how she can stay in her center and how she can then master the steps she needs to take when she's not giving her energy away to other people, or really feeling that scattered energy, because that means that something is off and then you're not embodied in who you are. So it's really a combination of seeing where the person's at, seeing where they need to tweak things, or if they're taking on energy of other people, where we need to help reinforce their energetic boundaries. And, you know, I wish it were a pat answer sometimes, but it's not. It's very unique to each individual.
Right.
And so I think the first thing, though, everybody can do is just really in touch with their energy. You know, when all of a sudden you start to feel an energetic shift, and you can't really put a finger on why, you can ask, is this mine? Is this even mine? And just be aware. And it could be really subtle. If it's not yours, one thing you can do, and this is an Access Consciousness tool, is return to sender with love and consciousness attached. So that you're not taking on energy that is really isn't yours, isn't for your highest good.
Sure. So I had an interesting experience. I do a lot with animal guides, drawing and so forth. And one of the first times that occurred for me, I was like in the middle of this project, a lot of stress, and, you know, just working insane hours and just like really beating myself up, honestly. And I tapped into through one of the tools I used. And a turtle showed up for me, and I was like, which totally changed the way that I do my business, because I was, you know, we all hear the story that, you know, the tortoise and the hare, right? You know, the hare is like the one that we always want to be, because, you know, they're fast, they're, you know, sexy, you know, all that kind of stuff. Whereas the tortoise is like something that, you know, when that showed up for me, I'm like, no, I can't have that show up, because, I need to have the cheetah or the hare or whatever to get all this stuff.
Right. A jaguar or something, right?
Right. And so I stepped back and I started to, look at that, and it's like, okay, do I need to be doing all the stuff that I'm doing? And so I started simplifying and changing my energy and that type of thing. And so now the turtle is one of my frequent companions, because it's just, and I'm actually writing something about the way of the tortoise, because there's just a lot of wisdom there. And that's just like one of the animals, but it's just these different types of ideas of, whether it's an animal guide or some other type of messenger or guide or whatever. There's like all this information out there that if we tap into it,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's really in support of us. So I love that you're really honoring that, because, the turtle is about wisdom and about, slow and steady, you're still getting there. It doesn't, and that it's true for you. I think that's the thing where, we can get really caught up in all the different ways you can do something. Well, so-and-so says this and so-and-so says that, but it really comes down to what's true for you. And so I love that you just honor that, because that is such a key to just being in alignment and having more joy in your business.
Yeah. And one of the things I love about the animal guides is that there's such a diversity of them. And a tortoise isn't trying to be a hare. A mountain goat isn't trying to be a lion or an eagle or whatever. But they all find their way in their ecosystem. They teach us so much about balance and, honoring who you are and so forth. And
absolutely,
we really lose track of that in our culture.
So true.
So the next question is your next point was sacred connection. And I wonder if we're actually kind of touching on that a little bit.
I think we are. I think we are. Yeah. And what I would say is, just as I said for your energetic IQ, sacred connection is also different for everyone. How you get your insight and your inspiration, and then your connection to your animals, it's different for everyone. And so the key is that, everything is energy, and tapping into energy can help really support you in your business. And why it's important for heart-centered entrepreneurs, I believe, and I've seen over the years, is that if they don't feel that sense of sacred connection, even in their business, like they can't put it on a shelf and think, oh, it's going to be great, because they're going to feel like a piece of them is missing. So having that sacred connection is an important piece to having the joy and abundance in your business.
Yeah. Before we got on the call, I was looking up the book of which you contributed to with Jack Canfield, the Pearls of Wisdom. And I don't know if it was specifically with that book, but there was something about the passion test, and kind of that alignment of, knowing if it fits for you. It's like your energy. And one of the ways I talk about it is it's like your internal navigation system, right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
When you're in touch with that, then it is a great way to figure out which direction to go.
Absolutely. And it also streamlines things, like you said, in your business, as you let go of, like, I don't want to be the hare, I'm okay to be the turtle or the tortoise, then you let go of the other things that can distract you. And the same is true with your connection. It's like your GPS, and everybody has one, and it's different for everyone. So it's important that they get in touch with how it works for them. But that will help streamline things greatly in your business, because we can all be doing a million things every day, right? For our business, right? The to-do list that grows and reproduces when you're not looking. Right. But if you are able to connect in to your highest guidance, then you'll know the exact right next steps for you. And it makes things so much easier and more fun, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, my belief is if you're not having fun doing what you're doing, then you need to figure out what's missing or what needs to change, which is,
Absolutely.
I'm writing a book about it, so I could talk about that forever, but.
Good. It's an important topic. I'm glad you're writing a book about it, Steve.
Yeah. So do you have different mechanisms by which you tap into that sacred connection?
I do teach my clients how different ways to tap in and different ways to try out tapping in so that they can find the way that's true for them. And I love, one thing that you can use, this is actually another tool from Access Consciousness, but it's light is right. If it feels light, then it means you're going in the right direction. Or another way I like to say it is, if it feels open and expansive, that's a sign that it's true for you, because your body is also an instrument of sacred connection. And so if it feels heavy and constrictive, that tells you something.
Right.
It doesn't mean everything feels great all the time, but those are just some basic tools that can be helpful to play with.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was one of the things that in my journey to figuring out how to get in line with myself is really to start listening to my body, and initially it's kind of like, well, I'm getting older. And so, it's all the joints and all that kind of stuff. But it's also just kind of that heaviness and like noticing like where you're feeling something, is there heaviness there? One of the things that I'm working through Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way right now. And in the chapter that I'm on, she talks about, kind of affirmations and like both the positive and the negative affirmations. And I do so much creative stuff right now that I was like, one of the things was, do you have any negative affirmations about being an artist or being creative? And I'm like, no, because look at all the stuff that I'm doing. But then I like tapped into my body and I was like, feeling where I felt that. And I was like, wow, I do,
Darn, right?
I'm way better than I used to be, but still there's always some of that resistance that's there.
Yeah, it's the constant evolution, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. So now that we've talked about energetic IQ and sacred connection, how do you integrate those in order to, and I love this idea of graceful marketing.
Yeah. Graceful marketing is really a way of finding a marketing style that's true for you and congruent for you. And so if you're tapped into what's true for you, if you have energetic IQ, and if you have a sacred connection, you're going to be getting guidance on the next steps to take in your marketing. And it might not look like anybody else's marketing plan. It might just be like, wow, well, today this is what I'm going to do. I'm supposed to pick up the phone and call somebody. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was a couple of months now, I was planning a retreat, a 3-day retreat called Soulful Profits. And I got an immediate hit that I needed to contact somebody. It was just her name came into my awareness and I hadn't talked to her for quite a while. So I picked up the phone and we just had a great conversation. And I let her know about my retreat and invited her. And she's like, I totally want to come. And it was just like, talk about easy and fun. And so that's what happens when you have that connection and you trust it and then you take action with what you're getting. Absolutely. So the natural way to market, everybody has a natural way to market. And here's the thing, most of what's taught in like the coaching industry or even the sales industry is not really in alignment for most heart-centered entrepreneurs. And that's why it either feels icky, it gets you kind of mixed results, or you avoid doing it because you're just like, yuck, this just doesn't feel good to me. And so everybody has a natural marketing style, believe it or not. I know some people are probably thinking, I don't have a natural marketing style. Oh, no. But everybody does. And so it's a matter of finding that.
So I wonder if this would be a good time to ask the question. So why do we struggle with marketing? I don't remember how that was phrased exactly, but why don't we market gracefully?
Yes. Well, why really heart-centered entrepreneurs avoid marketing is different than you might suspect. So marketing is misunderstood, not the actual what it is, but what it does for the person that's actually sharing. So marketing is about owning your gifts. And it's about owning the value that you create. And it's actually about owning your power. And that's the piece that the heart-centered entrepreneurs like myself really end up needing to work at, because there is a part of us that is either shy or doesn't want to like brag about what we do or doesn't want to be in other people's face about it. Maybe we're a little introverted. Or, you know, there's a part of us that's saying, I can't guarantee it, right? Whatever it is, or maybe it's even past cellular memories, like past life things or mass consciousness, who knows, right? There's all sorts of things it could be. But this really, if you are marketing yourself and you have a clear message and you're embodied in that message, it's way easier for people to find you. So this is going on subconsciously. It's not like people are saying, okay, I'm not going to own my power, I'm not going to market. It's not that, but it's a very subconscious thing that's happening. And it is, the thing of it is, once you know what you're here to do and you can stand in and embody that message and share it with people like, hey, this is what I do. It's, you know, like it's just natural. Then you no longer shrink and hide. You're actually stepping up and standing out, because if you're the best kept secret, you can never make the impact and the income that you want with your gifts. And so that's what's really important to understand about marketing. It's actually a way to own your power.
Nice. So a question I have with regards to that is, and I'm just kind of experiencing this recently, I'm starting to do, as I've said, I do a lot of creative things. And so one of the ways that I'm doing that is by sharing the doodles that I do. So like this morning, I did this thing about money magnetism, you know, and it's just, you know, and when I first started doing it, I'm like, these are stick figures, you know, and it's like, there's not a whole lot of artistic investment in it. But it's like it's a fun way to, and you know, it's helping, and I don't intentionally necessarily do this to build my brand, but it's just, you know, fun, and it's, you know, and people enjoy it, and you know, I can let go of, well, it's not perfect and blah blah blah, you know, because I think we really get caught up when we get trapped up about our gifts and our talents and our communication skills. One of the things that we struggle with, I know, speaking from personal experience, is that people are going to think it's weird, you know, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I talk to angels and dead people. How normal is that for some of the population, you know? Absolutely. Yeah, and it's the ability to let go of, you know, to do what you're here to do despite potential criticism. It's like, not everyone's going to understand that is what I'm here to do, and that it really transforms people's lives. And I love your doodles because there is something about seeing something visually that completely helps people to understand, like in an instant.
Yeah.
That you could have a paragraph or a page or a story they might not get in the same way that the visual, you know, the sketches and the doodles that you do are communicating to them. So I think it's brilliant.
Well, the secret to that is that it's actually really eye-opening for me too. You know, I think there's different avenues that we have by which we access our higher genius, right? And one of the things I love about art and doing art is that it gets access to parts of us that we don't spend a whole lot of time with generally. And so when I started out with this, I'm just like, okay, so I want to talk about money magnetism, right? And I'm like with a guy that's just, you know, broke. I mean, he's got a piggy bank that's broken open, and he comes across this magnet. And this is just, while I'm drawing this, I'm actually thinking, so it's like a visual way for me to think and get my ideas out. You know, so there's all kinds of insights and so forth that come out of for me as the artist as well as for the people who see it. So I
love it. Well, and it also gives you a richness, a depth to be able to teach and explain it to others as well.
Yeah. And it's super fun. I mean, which you know, and I think that's kind of goes along with your idea of graceful marketing, you know, that it's then when it's natural and fun and expansive, you know, it's just so much easier to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we don't avoid the fun things, right?
Right.
Although we want to do the fun things.
Although I know my undergrad is in marketing, and you know, and I spent years in the sales industry, and you know, it's all about cold calling, and you know, and you know, doing these different things and stuff that does feel yucky, and it's all about the numbers, you know, and you don't have the magic that's available when you let your talents and your gifts and your communication style be revealed. So yeah,
that's true.
scratch this yucky stuff.
Right, scratch the yucky stuff. We're getting rid of that in 2017.
So the next one is and I can't read my writing. Abundance alignment.
You got it. Yeah, you can read your writing. Awesome job. Yes, abundance alignment is about energetically being in alignment to not only give, because oftentimes I find heart-centered entrepreneurs are awesome at giving, like giving, over giving, but then the receiving part is where things are a little bit off balance. And if you just think about for a second, an infinity sign, which looks like a sideways 8,
right.
if you're giving and giving and giving, when you're not receiving, what do you have? You have like a 0, right?
Oh, wow.
So you're depleted. Yeah. So it's like looking at abundance and saying, yeah, the other part of that equation is also to receive. And the thing that I talk about a lot of things in abundance alignment, but one of them is that you and your business are actually 2 different energetic entities. And so what happens a lot with heart-centered entrepreneurs is if we don't understand that they're 2 separate energetic entities and we're all powered by the divine, our businesses and we are, and yes, we're connected. But if we tag our self-worth on how our business is doing or what's happening in our business, and we take a hit like a disappointment or something doesn't work out the way that we think it should, then it's a hit on our self-worth. And that really can take us off track. It can stop us from moving forward with our gifts. And it's really not about that. There are 2 separate energetic entities, you and your business, and coming into a different relationship with that helps you to open up your abundance and to be aligned to receive more abundance.
Yeah, great point. I like that idea of, there being the 2 energies. So my undergrad was in marketing. My master's was in accounting. And so I look at things and honestly, I spend more time in the accounting world but one of the things that gave me as far as perspective was looking at your business as a separate entity, right? And, and one of the things that empowers you to do is to work on your business, not just work in your business. It's like,
exactly.
What am I creating? Because your business is also a creative exercise or experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you flow your gifts through your business. That's one way. It's not the only way though, right? You're a dad, I'm a mom. And so there's other ways we flow our, might be in a group or in our hobby or whatever, in parent or relationship or who knows what, right? So we flow our gifts in lots of different ways. One of the ways is through our business for us, because we've chosen to be business owners.
Yeah. And it's also great in that, you realize that you own your business, not being owned by your business.
Exactly, which is a big thing because a lot of heart-centered entrepreneurs are so committed, right? So committed to making a difference and changing the world and doing awesome work in the world, but we can't do it at the expense of our own health and well-being. And that is just such an important point, that our business is separate and it's also being supported spiritually with our spiritual business team. We're being supported by our spiritual team, so we have a lot of avenues for support. So it's opening up to receive that, so we're not draining ourselves in the process.
Yeah. And I love the idea of the figure 8 too, because it just
that's an accounting thing, isn't it? Right? The numbers.
Yeah. Well, the other piece of that is when I was doing my undergrad, I could have never decided on what I was majoring in. So I also spent time studying math and engineering. So
sure.
I have lots.
You have a great blend.
I have an incredible blend. It's
yeah.
I actually had this.
I love it because you've got the creative, logical, all of it. That's so great when you have a business to have both and be able to tap into both.
Yeah. It's fun, and it's also maddening because finding the tools that I really want to, because I'm good at lots of things, but I don't want to be doing lots of things, and so it's like figuring out, okay, how do I, but it is interesting how the engineering can still pop up in these different situations.
Oh yes, that would be very handy in creating things in your business for sure.
Yeah. So all the gifts that we have, it's more of it's figuring out how to use what we've got in order to create what we're here to create. And it'll look different for everybody.
It will. Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, Joseph Campbell is one of the guys who I love all of his tons of quotes by him. And one of the things that he says is, if your path is the same path as everybody else, then it's not your path. And I'm totally paraphrasing. But
it's true. It's true. Well, and I also talk about sometimes your path goes uphill. Like we think, we can get this idea that as spiritual entrepreneurs, it's like, okay, if this is my path, it should be easy or easier or whatever, right? And it's like sometimes our path goes uphill. Doesn't mean it's not the path or a mountain, whatever.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that that I had to learn by just continuing to forge forward was initially I had that same idea that, that if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then it should be easy and fun and, great all the time. And the kind of the rude awakening was, sometimes it will just work,
Absolutely.
And that's okay.
It is. It is okay, but it's good to have the awareness, because sometimes I think what can happen is if you have, as a heart-centered entrepreneur, if you have the expectation that it's always ease and grace, then you might be very disillusioned or disappointed or frustrated. And I always say that ease and grace is kind of a paradox, because the flip side of that coin is discipline, and that sometimes you need to Velcro your butt to the seat and get stuff done. So, that's, you could still have things, be easy and graceful. And sometimes they don't feel so easy and graceful. And it's part of the bigger picture, right?
Right.
Doesn't mean you're not your path, or it's not important, or that you shouldn't be doing it, but there is the ease and grace and the discipline.
Right.
That's what happens in business.
Yeah. And while you're talking about that, I'm thinking of, weightlifting or running or whatever, even if it's something that you really enjoy, there's still, running was never something that I really enjoyed, but
me neither.
There are always those hills, but there is always effort, and it's always part of the journey, right? To go through that. And a lot of times that's honestly where a lot of the learning comes in too, is figuring out,
absolutely,
what's the lesson for me here in this struggle.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Although the other piece that comes back is the kind of the Buddhist philosophy that, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, right?
Yes, yes.
So, yeah. So now that we have these 4 pieces in place, the energetic IQ, the sacred connection, graceful marketing, and abundant alignment, it's time to take inspired action.
It is, yes. And so inspired action, it is exactly what it sounds like, right? You are listening, you're tuning in, you're connected, you're asking, what's my next step? You're getting that next step, and then it's like, okay, I'm taking action. And almost every time we get an inspiration, right behind it is a fear that goes, what?
Right.
What to do what? Because essentially everything that we need to do for our business that we haven't already done is outside our comfort zone, in what I call the courage zone. So in your courage zone is where it feels a little scary, and that's where the fear comes up. So it's knowing how to be able to transcend that and still take the action, because really that discomfort that's in the courage zone is just a sign that you're growing, and that's actually good. So if the seedling is popping up through the earth, it has to push and push and push, and sometimes there's discomfort. It's like that, so you're just growing in a new way. Nice.
I like that.
And if you are tapped in, with your connection, you can actually tap into your spiritual team to get reinforcements to have the courage to take the action. So, all the 5 elements that we talked about today, they really flow into each other. They overlap. It's like a holistic unit. And that's how you can kind of start to see it's not just one, and they all work together.
Yeah, very true. and you spoke in the very beginning about, all being a holistic process, that it all works together. An image that's coming to mind for me is just, a ball, when there's like all these, and I have like this image that I do of like different gears within, a greater gear that's your life. And when like all of them are working in harmony with one another, the whole thing operates so much more efficiently and easily.
And that's where the profits come from. That's where the soulful profits. Then when you're in alignment, taking the actions, doing the things that are in alignment to you, drawing in the customers and clients that are ideal for you, that's when the profits start coming in, because you're being true to who you are, and there's reward in that on every level.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's see. So I know that you also have a gift to share with people. Can you tell us a little about what you have that helps people to bring all these things into action?
Sure. I'm going to grab my link because I don't know what it is off the top of my head. It's kind of one of those crazy links. So what the gift is, it's called the Permission to Prosper Success Toolkit. And this kit was actually given to me by my divine team. And it's really to help people to open up and to actually give themselves permission to prosper. Because a lot of spirit-led entrepreneurs, there is this glitch about receiving money for your spiritual gifts. So it's helping to bring that into alignment, helping you to tap into your true source of abundance and supply, and also to release the cycles of lack. And so this is there's actually several different components to the Success Toolkit. Okay. There's a visual component, an audio component, a meditation, and it's helping you to dissolve the root cause of struggle. Because while growth is great and discomfort is often part of the growth, the struggle doesn't have to be to what it often is for heart-centered entrepreneurs. So it's helping with that piece as well. And in this, you'll actually create your own unique plan to increase prosperity. And so it's got the sort of like you, Steve, working with the logical and the creative, bringing both together, creating a plan then to increase your prosperity in the new year. So this is available if you go to, and I'll read the link. It's a little long, so I don't know if you can pop it into the Zoom. I emailed it over to you. I'm not sure if you got it, but I'll read it slowly twice. Okay. And maybe we can.
And also, I will. I'll provide a link in both the show notes as well as on the social media links and so forth, so that people can click on it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So let me read it twice. It's http:// bit.ly /1 capital T J capital J capital O capital X 9. So that was a mouthful. So I'll do that one more time. http:// bit.ly/1 capital T J capital J capital O capital X 9. And there it is. I see it in the chat. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah. And like I said, I'll make that accessible for everybody so they can jump on that. And that sounds great. One of the things that's really interesting to me is, and hopefully this is a sign that I'm in alignment, that basically the idea of, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and these are the things that I've been thinking about today, just about, not in the same language, but just the idea of the soulful prophets. How do we, get in alignment? How do we create that space for us to receive as well as for us to give? And when you look at that figure 8, that infinity symbol, you know, there's a flow that goes through it, right? I mean, it's curvilinear, so the way that it's infinity is for that it goes on forever. And one of the ways that I think about that too is like with a light switch, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the way a light switch works is that it connects and disconnects the wires that go from the source to the light bulb or whatever mm-hmm. you're switching. And, you know, if we don't flip that switch, you know, then we don't get the power to what it is that we're trying to turn on. Absolutely. And it has to go both ways. That
absolutely.
You know, with electricity is, you know, you have a positive and a negative charge. And so, you know, it all has to work together. So what I'm trying to say with all that is that this was perfect today. So
Good. I'm so glad. You know, and I do think the infinity sign, I think the other piece to that just came to me was that often heart-centered entrepreneurs try to do everything themselves, or they think they have to. And we have so many more resources available to us if we're open to receiving. So it goes back to that openness and being supported. So I think that's an important piece to bring into the conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's all part of that flow of, you know, and we do have a community. I mean, one of the things that I love about what happened in 2016 for me was starting to see that community come together for me. I've been doing a lot of stuff on my own, like writing and creating and so forth, but I didn't feel that sense of creativity, that sense of community. And it's really hard when you put yourself kind of like in these little silos or the ivory towers or whatever phrase you want to use to describe it. And you don't take advantage of that community, you know, because we're all out here to support one another. And, you know, there's amazing stuff that happens when we do.
It's amazing is right. And, you know, just like us connecting, you know, that has been such a gift too and a blessing. And with every person that we do that with, it just feels like that network of support and that our ability to get our gifts out to the people that need them just grows and grows exponentially. So it's really exciting.
Absolutely. So thank you, Tami, for your time. And I hope everybody that watches this and enjoys and goes out and gets lots of soulful profits. You know, it's one of the things that we do collectively as heart-centered entrepreneurs is that we're all working to make the world a better place. So, you know, your success in doing what you're doing and the gifts that you brought, Tami, you know, help us all to elevate the experience that we have here on this earth. So thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. It's been just a joy to be with you today, Steve, and everybody. And so look forward to our continued connection.
Absolutely. All right. I'm going to end the recording now. So let's see.